everybody.
Welcome to another episode of Funny Feelings, the show. This is your boy Rob with my co-host, my baby Toshiba, and we're here once again. What's this, episode 27?
We are season 2, episode 3.
Season 2, episode 3, yeah. So
Episode 3.
28 overall.
Yeah.
Yep, like I said, we're gonna do this every Thursday. Win, lose, or draw, up or down. We're definitely all the way in on our Thursday night therapy session, and we are just hanging out, seeing if we can get some folks to join in on us, basically. So tonight's topic is,
Let's talk three-way relationships. And this was a request. Hey, Tamika.
interestingly, that's actually a fairly hot topic today. If you look at the trends and the demographics of where things are going, we're going to have to figure something out.
Well, it's always interesting when I do the polls on certain things because you can kind of see the divide of men and women. Because the poll today, I don't have my phone. I have to get yours and see what it is. But the poll today, the people that answered, like all the women answered no, but the men answered yes. They could definitely see maintaining a three-way relationship. But the reality is, are people not doing that already? It's just that the other person doesn't know. And I don't mean to laugh. That's a little bit insensitive that I'm laughing.
No,
but
it's
that's
not insensitive because honestly, let's wait till we get a few more people in here. How about that? What's up, Twinsy?
Hey, twins.
We're going to dissect this joint a little bit here.
We're
My
definitely
perspective is probably going to ruffle quite a lot of feathers, but it is what it is. If you, again, look at the way the world is trending, look at the demographics of the world, things look a lot better for me than it does for you ladies.
Why do you say that? I mean, I'm sitting pretty over here, literally and figuratively.
First off, there's more women in the world than men.
Correct.
The gap, they say, closed a little bit, but it's still at least 5 or 6 percentage points on over the split, meaning y'all at least 56% of the population or so, and we're bare maximum like 44%. So
And is that overall or in the black community?
no, that's globally.
Okay.
That's just period. Not sure what the demos are looking like specifically for black folks, but that's something else we might get into. It's not all that sexy, but the writing on the wall is not fantastic for the state of male, female, traditional, stereotypical relationships. As you pointed out, a lot of women sharing men, they just
Don't know it.
no, I think they know it.
You think they know it?
Excuse me. Like, if they don't know it, they're kind of like plugging their ears and closing their eyes and kind of refusing to look at the writings on the walls. And like I said, I think I might have some fairly interesting spins on it. But the first up being is just look at the state of men and women's relationships right now.
Okay.
It's always been said that men want their cake and eat it too, but let's dissect what the modern woman really wants. She's out here getting her bag.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever threshold her earnings are, she's looking for a guy that makes a little bit more than that.
A little bit more than she does, correct.
Because y'all are not truly comfortable with making more than
Being the
man.
breadwinner.
So the more money you make,
The more money he has to make.
do you think that's a positive relationship with the number of available men, or a negative relationship with the number of available men?
It's gonna be a negative relationship
Okay.
with men.
Now, like you said, as your money goes up, the money you need him to make goes up.
Correct.
But what goes up when his money? What happens when his money goes up?
Status, prestige, availability of women.
He gets more options.
Yes.
As his money goes up.
That is correct.
So, you as a woman,
Yes.
you're getting promoted, and your options are thinning out.
Yes.
And I'm getting promoted, and my options are just more and more. How's that work for us looking up?
Oh, does it?
Okay, I'm just thinking. So, rather than get creative and think outside the box, and okay, I'm gonna be really kind of graphic here. Going back to my Patrice O'Neal, it's one of his jokes, but in the audience he said, "Ladies, if you lost your vagina, how would you keep your man?"
Oh, that's a good question. I'm supportive. I provide you peace. You are my job, so you actually need me to create structure in your life. And I've noticed I haven't mentioned cooking and cleaning because that's not what our relationship is definitely about. But
and you really didn't mention alternative holes.
No,
because that's what the audience threw out. Mouth, butt.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about it.
Right. And he crushed it. He was like, okay, notice, now you bitches said, like, learn how to play Xbox or
What, did he say bitches?
go to the strip club more. You know, he said it straight like that. He is like,
do the things that men want. Do the things
that a man wants to do.
Yeah, yeah.
A woman who thinks like that, i.e., I'm going to do what he wants, do you think she's more or less attractive to a man?
She's more attractive.
So why don't more women seem to get that?
Because men and women speak different languages. And
Why?
Women are listening to women who don't know what men want.
Why are women coming into the relationship? Okay, well,
That's
I think that's Instagram probably.
No, that mic, can the other mic not be connected?
No.
That mic doesn't work. There's something wrong with that mic. I told you that last week in the other show.
I can try to switch mics, but then we will lose more sound. Well, I don't know. Let's figure it out real quick.
We're going to do some things here while he's figuring it out because he wasn't listening to me about last week's show when we did another show and the mic was garbage because I edited all the videos. We're good on your end. So Twin Zinc says we're good on his end. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So we'll just keep going.
So no need for the shade.
Oh, well, I'm shady.
Sometimes. You said that. So anyway, where were we? No, we were just talking about kind of the state of things with men and women. So
if I don't have my vagina to give, and if I think that all it is that I have sex on the plate, right? So my mouth, my body, like all of that. But woman thinks that's all she has to offer her man. Well, that's a problem. She doesn't know her man, and is that to me? That's when you create problems in a relationship, because if you don't know what your man even wants because you're not bothering to even pay attention to what your man wants, and he meets homegirl who's kind of cued into the things that he likes, and again, she may not love them, but she knows he likes them, and so she has an affinity for them. And it's, there's some women who are like, well, I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to play games, but I think naturally when you get in relationships, like I don't necessarily love Marvel movies, but you do. And so I have watched all of the Marvel sitcom series with him, and I've enjoyed them. It's not something I would have naturally watched by myself. I would have caught like a Black Panther and that stuff. But the series, and I'm into it. Like every week we would set a time when we knew the series was out, because I would be asking questions and he'd stop and he would educate me because it was intriguing to me. So for me, it's like, you love that part of it. Like, she's really into something that I'm really into, and you knew it wasn't fake. It was, I actually was enjoying it once I get to know it. So if a woman is all about what she's all about, but knows nothing about what her man's all about, yeah, she's probably in an unknown three-way relationship.
Basically. She's probably in that's not a good position, but too many women, in my opinion, approach relationships like that.
Like what?
Especially black women.
Like what?
like what he needs to do for me, and zero thought gets put into what you actually gonna have to do for him. I was watching a clip, I don't know, one of the podcasts. It's like 3 dudes and they had 3 girls on. Mm-hmm. These were younger girls, light-skinned, pretty girl, and she got mad at him for asking, "What are you gonna bring? What are you bringing to the table?" She said, "Only broke dudes say that."
Oh, so men of value don't ask what women bring to the table?
She just kept saying, "I'm gonna do everything."
What does that mean?
That's it. And they went for like 5 or 6 minutes back and forth with this.
I'm confused by what that means because I can't do everything, nor do I want to do everything. Like I'm not signing up for everything.
Okay, if this is how I think. If I ask a woman, if we were to be an item, what do you bring to the table? And she said, "Oh, I'm gonna do everything." In my head, I'm like, "You ain't gonna do nothing."
Is that what the guys hear when women say stuff like that? They're just like, "No, you're not doing anything." Because if you can't even be specific about what you're actually going to do, you gave me a blanket statement, you're doing nothing.
You're gonna, and again, that's the secret. Like, you know why masculine energy is so much a turn off to straight dudes?
Why?
Because we know how we are.
Duh.
So when you step into me like me, I'm like, oh, she just gonna tell me anything to get the D.
Oh.
Or to get in my wallet or whatever it is she's looking for from me.
I see.
You're just gonna say whatever.
I see.
Because if I do what I'm supposed to do, then you'll bring what you're supposed to be bringing to the table. And I know some of y'all are like, what the fuck does this have to do with 3-way relationships? That's where we're getting to. Because again, unfortunately, a byproduct of this selfish mentality of trying to be the man in the relationship when you're the woman is that
the man is
seeking femininity. Another woman somewhere.
He's seeking femininity because that's what he ultimately wants you to bring to the table is your femininity.
And guess what's like? Again, it's like the process we're going through. It's easier going through the process of looking for a job when you have one.
That is fact.
It's easier to get a woman when you have one. Is that because of men? Or is that because of women? Why is that?
Did you just drop
Does anyone object to that statement first? I know there's only a couple females in here, but I would definitely like the audience to chime in.
I'm going to talk about that. No, I'm going to talk about that. So I remember with guy friends, and I used to talk to them about going to the bar. I actually told them to put a wedding ring on because they would actually get more play at the bar with this idea that they may be married. There's something that women are attracted to a man even though he's committed to another woman. Because that's what a lot of... Well, that's what a lot of women are seeking, right? They want commitment. They want a man to choose them. Right? And all of a sudden, but there are some women who think, well, he's already taken to the other woman's doing the woman stuff, the taking care of him, and I get to get the good stuff. But a lot of women do think... So Twins Inc. says, so basically Rob was saying... we're going through the job searching process with him right now. And again, offers and all these things are coming through. But he's like, I don't need to jump at the first opportunity because I have a job. So he's basically saying, in the same way it's easier to get another job when you have a job, it's the same with a woman. Isn't it easier to get another woman when you already have one?
And I said 100% yes. And then the question, the follow-up is, and why is that? Is that because of men or is that because of women?
Oh, it's because of women.
So a man with a woman is more attractive to a woman.
Yes.
But men ain't shit. Okay. That makes perfect logical sense right there. Absolutely. Okay.
Because the thing about it is I don't know if it works in the reverse.
No.
I don't think showing up at the bar and flashing my wedding ring while I sit there is going to drive the men to me. Like, I already, I don't have a wedding ring at this point because we're not married yet. But even just going through, like, I was going through Walmart the other day and I told you, like, a guy stopped to compliment me, but part of the compliment was kind of like, girl, where's your man? Like, there was already this assumption that I had a man and he gave me a compliment and kept it pushing. There was no, like, lingering of everything. He kept it rolling. But I know women, they're quick to talk to you. They're probably quicker to talk to you and engage with you than with me.
Sometimes, I'll be on my stuff, a lot of the times moving through the world. But, yeah, it's also like, we both get more looks when we're together.
We actually do get a lot of looks. I mean, he's 6'9", so there's that. And I'm built in a certain way that Arizona just ain't. If I was in Texas, it would be different. But Arizona ain't used to all I got going on here. But so yes, we do get a lot more looks. Twinzing said it right. When you're married and you don't give women any attention, they want you more. And that's why I used to say to my single homeboys, I'm like, I guarantee you, put on a wedding ring and see a wedding band and see what happens when you go to the bar. And it wasn't about trickery, but I just thought it was interesting because my degree's in psychology and I'm always trying to test these theories like, what is wrong with us? Like, why would another woman's man make you want that man more?
Isn't that kind of toxic by nature?
A little bit.
You're more attracted to to someone that's already into something. And I get on a certain logical level that shows he's chosen a woman and she's accepted his invitation.
Well, it shows he can commit.
Look at it. So yeah,
it shows he can
but
commit.
on the flip of it, like Chris Rock has a great catalog. He's far more famous than just a slap. And one of his jokes though was that when it comes to guys and girls, like guys will see you and they'll be like, man, I want a woman like Toshiba. Women, your girlfriends see me, and some of them will be like, I want Rob. Like, I don't want a man like Rob. I want Rob.
Yeah.
I actually want your man. Yeah. Y'all have a little competitive.
It is. That was the word I was going to use.
With each other, and it's kind of toxic by nature. Because why is it so easy for men to cheat?
Because there's available women to cheat with.
There's always a woman
to cheat with.
Ready to spread them.
So, Twinsick is saying, I can have a full-blown conversation with a woman without flirting. She wants to talk more. When I don't shoot my shots. Here's the thing. Women actually take rejection worse than men do.
Far worse.
Because we're not used to it. Right? Especially women with pretty privilege. And most of the time, men are engaging with women who have some level of pretty privilege. And so, most men ain't checking for Big Shirley. So you're not necessarily at the bar chatting up Big Shirley and her Big Shirley companion friends. You're usually at, a 6 or above and you're engaging. So the fact that you're not kind of leaning in or giving her any kind of vibe, she's like, what is wrong with him? And so then she's kind of giving you the, hey, by the way, I'm interested, even if I'm not. Because I think, again, it's a competitive, like, how dare you not want me? So our thing was like, here's the deal. We're not silly enough to think that we're going to go through this world in the next 40 years together. I mean, we could. Go on, because you want to say something.
No, because I'm like, you're going to, and I'm not going to say what you're going to say, but it just feels, your nature simplifies our process.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
And
it's
with
not
that,
simple. It's not a simple process.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it simplifies it. You're being bisexual
Absolutely.
by nature makes those conversations more natural than a woman who says a woman who knows she is not. That she's heterosexual. She just wants a man.
Correct.
Okay? Now when you start talking about three-way relationship, it gets more convoluted because of that competitive nature on top of it. First, one thing is paramount in any type of, look, if you got a three-way volleyball team, cooperation has to be going on.
Yeah, because there's an odd man out in some way.
Competing.
Yeah.
Like that if it's a competitive nature, then that it's gonna fracture very quickly.
Here's my thing. Again, the show's about changing the conversation around Black relationships, and so I was having a voice note today with one of our followers who I often communicate with, and they were telling me a story about two friends that right now that are getting divorced, and his male friends are getting divorced. And I'm just gonna say this in Patois because it comes up. Both of the women them have other man. Both of the women have other men. One of them apparently is already posting the man before divorce papers even signed on Instagram. This is the love of my life. This is one blah blah ray, right? And so this idea to me that men are the ones that are going out there and ruining marriages and creating dysfunction. It's not true. Either partner can create dysfunction because they're not communicating.
Yo.
Right?
Counted to Jamaica.
They're not communicating. And I think as much as there are people who do not understand or choose to judge the way we have our relationship, and that's fine. We're putting it on a public platform for people to make their comments. Yeah. The one thing they cannot say is that we do not communicate. For good, bad, and indifferent, that is the foundation of the relationship. And the reality for me is I couldn't be with you if I wasn't able to be, and it's kind of cliche, the authentically me, but that's basically what it is. If I couldn't show up being my full self every day, and when I have these off-the-cuff thoughts, and where you have these off-the-cuff thoughts, that we can't go through them and rationalize through them as a couple, like, why are we here? Because to me, like, you are, like, Rob is my best friend. Like, especially because I am out here by myself without my core group of people. Rob's all I got. And so for me not to be able to communicate with him what I'm thinking, and it's not just about our relationship, it'll just be like a random thought that we lead and we'll bring into our relationship. But communication is such a big thing. And again, the poll, when I looked at it earlier, it was split. It was men said yes and women said no. And I start thinking to myself, do women know what men want? Because I think men seem to have an idea more what women want, because women are very vocal, right? Women tend to be very vocal on every aspect of, I want this, and this, and I don't want this. Men are generally not as vocal to what they want when they're in spaces with women, but when y'all are in spaces with men, you're very clear about what you want, or at least what you don't want.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're listening to each other. So then we get into relationships because, again, if we're not listening to each other outside of an emotional relationship, because when you get feelings, again, fuck your feelings, when you get feelings involved, it can be very difficult to, we had our moments this week where we had to rip apart, some things that were happening with us, and, we had to have 2 or 3 fuck your feelings conversations. But when you have the emotional aspect now, if you weren't already listening to what the other sex wanted, does it help you to listen to what your partner wants?
No, it just becomes like this rinse and repeat of, like, that's what's funny. And it kind of, I think men seem to understand we get ourselves into bad relationships. Women just will go through 2 or 3 decades of it was just bad men, and you're like almost like all men are bad, and you're looking for this needle in a haystack good man, and so you're missing everything that we actually are. There's some commonality.
Pause. You made a really good point. I really needed you to pause. You literally just made a good point. Women think of it as bad men instead of, I was in a bad relationship. The relationship didn't suit me. Where men can say, I was in a bad relationship. So that's basically what we're saying. Men can turn around after having, not having success in a relationship and saying that was a bad relationship. In your mind, women turn around after not having success in relationships and said, I chose bad men.
I chose a bad man. and then it becomes this bad
every other
man after bad man, and then all men are bad, and now you're looking for this rare unicorn man that makes $1 million a year and never looks at other women, and somehow he makes all this money and he spends all his time at home with you.
Thank you, Cass Forever Rising. She said bingo. Now, and so that's, again, when we talk about our relationship to you guys, it isn't because we're trying to be couple goals, because we are not.
No,
we're not couple goals. We're really two people. I put it in the promo. We're really two people who are trying to stay together. And we've recognized that communication is the key. There's several keys to our relationship, I would say. Clearly, we have the no disrespect rule. We have great communication, and we're committed to the commitment of this relationship, plus our relationship contract.
And we have this show.
And we have the show.
We go to therapy.
Right? And so for us, we have no problems having these conversations with you guys, because if it helps for all of you to have better relationships. But I'm telling you, why would you not communicate with your partner your wants, needs, and desires instead of going out there, doing what you want to do, coming home, she gets mad or he gets mad. But it was like if you were just communicating it, then you wouldn't be here. Princess Shirley Love says, but the relationship involved the person involved, the personality, the behaviors, and the person, not the relationship. Here's the thing, and I'm going to answer as a woman. Whose fault is that? If I stay in a bad relationship because personality conflict, I didn't like his actions, all of this, like I just didn't like the person after, like, who's fault? Like, I'm the type of person when mom speaks about his former relationships, I'm like, well, you made that choice. That's on you, bro. Like, that ain't on them. You stayed. So as much as your woman now, I feel like, I'm here to make sure those mistakes, we never go through that. You still made that choice. So I ain't mad at them. You picked them. And you stayed with them. And so then again, it's not about the people. He chose to stay in situations that were not suited to what he wanted. And he could say the same of me, right? We still choose those people. And so at what point do you realize the relationship's going bad and then you still keep going in it?
I think that has so many different factors to it. That's why people stay in bad relationships at very different times. I think the number one reason people stay in bad relationships, it's like being down 25 in the first half. Like, yo, if we get hot and go on a run, we can come back and get back in this game. But possibility is not the same as probability. Yes, a possibility of y'all turning the corner and getting it together, but probability is the problems that y'all are having are just going to keep on building on top of each other.
So let me ask you a question. If you're getting to, because we're talking three-way relationships. If you're in a situation where your relationship is bad, can adding another person fix it?
No. It'll make it worse. Don't do that. Ladies, if you're not truly into other women, then don't do that for him. You're going to lose in that situation.
So do you think that a woman has to be into other women in order for a three-way relationship to work?
Or there has to be a lot of ground rules and boundaries set. Then basically I feel bad for that man, because now the onus is on him to have two separate relationships with them knowing about each other and cooperating.
That's interesting.
That's very tough.
So, because there's different way to have three-way relationships, right? You just described one, which is a man with two women, right? And he's got two separate women, and they can live in the household, but they don't have a relationship with each other other than the fact that they are with this one man. And for a lot of people, that's kind of the polyamory lifestyle. There are people who, again, the women don't really interact. They're civil, for lack of a better word. They're exactly, but they're sisters. Not. They don't have an affinity.
Lovers, they don't have any type of romantic or any type of intimate feelings for the other woman. It's just, like you said, not even a sister, because again, a sister.
No, it's not sisterly.
It's more like a.
You are sharing the same man.
Co-worker, colleague.
Thank you. You guys are sharing
y'all got the same
man.
job. Yeah, basically.
So let's do this, Princess Shirley Love. What about a 3-way with 2 men?
Do you want my honest opinion, or do you want me?
No, we fuck your feelings. That's the name of the show.
I think a 3-way relationship with 2 men is only possible if they're both beta men.
But again, that beta word bothers me a little.
Well, yeah,
because
it almost seems like it's derogatory. It's not even not meant to be
yeah,
that,
because people are going around this week saying that Russell Wilson is a beta male and
he's a captain of a flipping
exactly.
NFL football team. How
again, people are using this. People are using this word. So
he plays professional football. He's a quarterback. Like, he gets hit all the flipping time.
So again, that's why the word has no meaning right now. So let me answer. I think that would be interesting. I think it's an interesting dynamic. How does the woman set? Like, there has to be ground rules. There has to be ground rules.
No, I'm not.
We're not thinking it. We don't think it's we're answering the question. There has to be. In all the 3-way. Doesn't matter how it works. It doesn't matter if the man has 2 separate women. Doesn't matter if the woman's bisexual. Doesn't matter if there's 2 men and 1 woman. There has to be ground rules.
And I think it's tougher with 2 males because there has to be a leader. That's more of what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. That's a better way to put it.
There still has to be a leader of the relationship. And if the woman is the leader of the relationship with 2 men, that seems messy.
And I agree. I don't think I would ever want to put myself in a situation where I was seeking 2 men.
Like, you're managing 2 dudes? Like,
now, if I'm in a situation and because there are open relationships that might turn out into 3-way relationships, right? Where there is another man, right? They may have started as an open relationship. She met someone. They decided, well, we're not going to leave each other, but you can still have this relationship with this person. It's consensual on every end. And so maybe that works, and he tried it. He's like, it ain't for me. I just want my wife. I don't see it happening often, but it is possible. Mm-hmm. I personally don't see how that works. I know it wouldn't work for me because I'm just not interested. And I think it's also, again, the preface in the beginning where you said I'm a bisexual woman. So, of course, for me, I'm not looking for 2 leaders. Like, I naturally am a woman who follows her man. So who am I following?
Me.
Yeah, but now I have 2 men.
2 men. That's what I'm saying. There has to be a leader.
Like, who am I? Because again, my natural
they kind of have to figure that out between the 2.
Yeah, because my natural inclination is I'm going to follow. So again, now I got 2 men, and you're the one saying right and one saying left, and I'm stuck in the middle. Like, where am I supposed to go? Because they're both supposed to be the leader of the home. Because I can't lead.
You can't have 2 leaders in a home.
No, you can't.
That's the definition of now y'all hit a fork in the road. And it's messy.
So that's
one wants to go one way and one wants to go the other, and they both leaders. So y'all
but you're right. It wouldn't
work.
Y'all
just standing there looking like, what are we doing?
It wouldn't work if they were both leaders. That's the point. Yeah, that's a better point for you to make. One would have to be a leader, and one would have to have a more chill, laid back, and just fall back because it just happens to work for him. But for me, I'm going to say it wouldn't work for me.
I think that's there's a segment of, but let's not pretend like there aren't bisexual men. There are men that have fetishes that involve other men being with their woman. Like, there's a lane for that type of stuff, but I think it's far, far more reserved, and
it's going to be smaller.
I think a lot of women sometimes they like the ideas of stuff. But when they actually get into it, they realize. No, but
unless Instagram cuts us off, we're gonna be keeping it real.
Like, for real, like, a lot of women be like, "Yeah, I'm with this shit," because I think women are kind of naturally bi-curious. Like, I think on average,
you're not the only man to say that. Most
like
men
on average, I think women have thought about what it would be like to be with another girl. Men don't think like that. Like, straight men do not. I wonder what Tom would be like in bed. Like, it doesn't even, or there's not, again, women, y'all affection style, y'all love languages, like, they're more cohesive to each other. And this is not throwing any type of shade.
No, it is. When we're in the bathroom, women women do that all the time. Like I've had strangers come up to me in the bathroom at a club, like, and they literally start touching my face, like, "You're so beautiful."
Yeah,
like, and again, I'm not like, "Oh my God, get the hell off me." Like I'm just like, "Oh my God, thank you." Right? Like we're very different in that way. I agree with you.
Right. So I think that and most men are not going to be turned off by the idea of bringing another woman into the relationship. Now, on the flip side, I don't think the average dude is really capable of having two women, because it takes a lot to. Because there has to be a pecking order, there has to be a main relationship, and therefore that third person has to be comfortable being in that orbit, but knowing they're not the main relationship. Like if they decide to leave, nothing changes. If she decides to leave, the whole shit's fucked up.
But here's the thing. The reason these things often don't work is men aren't setting those rules in terms of, listen, sis.
Oh, well, we know exactly how our situation runs. Like, well, again, we were joking about it the other day. She was like,
let me tell you. So recently he's just been getting up in the morning with a hard, stiff foot. Okay, and I am just like, I'm tired because we go to bed at extremely late. Again, we're on Pacific time. I'm usually up doing editing or something, and then he's doing some other stuff, and he's like, by the time we turn around, it's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Eastern, and I also work on Eastern time. And so, but he woke up and I said, listen, I wish there was another woman here that I could just tag her in and be like, it's your turn because I'm tired. Okay? And he burst out laughing.
That's kind of the whole point of this situation. But then we've also, on the flip of it, is like, I told her, I was like, she's your girlfriend. Like, she better not come to me complaining about nothing. Like, it's not even, I don't want to have to deal with another woman. That's your girlfriend. You need to be keeping her straight and keeping her in check, and all I gotta do is throw money at the situation.
But I question if that's why our situation would work better than most, because it isn't, again, a straight man with two heterosexual women trying to still in some ways compete for his affection, his attention. I'm bisexual. She would have to be as well. She's not in it for you. She's in it for me and you, right? Because again, you know, I think a lot of people envy my lifestyle a little bit, that I kind of have a freewheeling. It's funny because today, because I had a moment this week, I'm like, maybe I should get a full-time job. And Dahlia Joanne, who is like my confidant or whatever, she looked at me and she laughed. We were on that call. I'm like, maybe I should just get a full-time job. And she laughed. She's like, bitch, you're not getting a full-time job. And so then today, after I had done all the stuff in the house, it was like noon. And I started going for a walk because I was going at home. Remember I was texting you? And I was like, bitch, you're not getting a full-time job. It's the middle of the day and you're going home decor shopping. Like, what full-time job are you getting? Like, it's never happening ever in life. I enjoy my time because you go out there and you hustle, which is amazing. So yeah, there are a few women who are a little bit envious of the fact that after going from the busy thing, I no longer have to do that. And I had a moment. I forgot to, because you came home and you were kind of in your space. But I was like, never.
It's just
never.
It's just, yeah, it's not a space thing. No. It's just, I hate not having that kind of buffer time of leaving the office, and you know, I had to. You know, my manager asked me to help him button up some stuff like at the last minute, so I actually didn't leave until like right up around 5. And on Thursday, it was just kind of irritating. And so it, like, and again, so I walk in the door and it's like 5:30, and I'm like, I got an hour, you know, like, so basically I got like 20 minutes to just kind of woozah and, you know, sit out on a balcony and do what I do. So that just that, you know, I'm a leisure.
No,
person. I need my downtime.
He needs his downtime. I know this ain't got nothing to do with real relationships. We're gonna get back on that. Yeah. But again, we have moments. So I think our dynamic is different. Yeah. What would be your advice to men who are in a situation where, to be honest, they listen, they've got a woman that they love, But again, loving me doesn't stop you from wanting to F another woman. Like, I'm very clear about that. Whether I was bisexual or not, I'm very clear about the fact that just because I'm in your orbit doesn't mean that your peripheral doesn't work and you don't see other women surrounding your orbit. So what's your advice to a man who wants to be in a situation where he can't have his main woman and another woman and bring them together?
I say, one, make sure that's what you really, really want. Like, I'm a weirdo. Like, I knew kind of early, like, that would be a type of situation that would work for me. You know what I mean? I knew that probably around college or so. Like, that I tended to get along best with females that were into females because that's one more thing that we have in common. You know what I mean? And it doesn't now, that's a huge component of myself that I don't have to like try to turn off to fit into the box of the relationship to be in with you to make you happy. That's never, like, again, we're both only children from the perspective of, you know, kind of grew up in that space of being our mother's only child. And I'm very, very, very much into the idea, like, that's why I was so kind of carefree early, is that I didn't get into very many committed relationships is because I like the idea of if I'm out at a bar and I catch her eye and she's giving me the rhythm, I want to be able to act on that. I want to be able to move on that, and I don't want to have to be like I'm cheating or I'm doing a disservice to someone else because I wanted my 20s to be having those type of experiences. Like, I ain't got to explain nothing to nobody. I do what I want to do. And because of that, now I'm not in a place of feeling like I need to knock something down. Like, you know, I need to notch my belt. Like, I think every dude has his number.
Is that true, guys? Does every guy, you said that to me before, and I'm curious.
Once I hit this body count, I feel like, okay, now I can settle down.
Guys, guys may not even want to put it in the chat, but did you have a number in your mind of amount of women that you wanted to be with for you to be like, yeah?
Look, man, y'all, we've gotten so away from our natural order on certain things. Like, how does my reproductive system work? Quantity or quality?
Quantity.
How does your reproductive system?
Oh, no, it's got to be quality because I got to take the
exactly.
Baby.
So I don't understand why women don't understand why men have the mentality that we have. We are actually programmed to ski.
So Twin Zing said, me personally, no number.
Okay.
No, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but
you are. We are. There's no one that's going to debate me on. We are biologically programmed to ski.
No, you are. You definitely are. I don't think women go around.
Women are biologically programmed to screen us and only allow the best options to ski.
They should. They should.
But
that's not
totally
where we are right now. But we should.
And that's why three-way relationships are going to be more common because, like you said, it's already going on. You're sharing men whether you know it or not. The smart women have already just kind of jumped on the board. Like, he's a married man. He has a side baby. The smart wife, she's like, you know what? We're not going to do all of this. Bring her into the house, and we're just going to figure it out.
So as the side baby, I would say my mothers get along. So Lopez says he's right, and Twinsick said we have to ski. Regular sex is healthy. I feel you.
Program.
Which is why sometimes you need to tag someone in. I'm just saying. But no, I agree.
But we also set the benchmark and the bar really high. Like, ain't nobody can just come party with us. Like,
no, but we know when if I think about my own family situation, and I think about the fact that, again, I am, for those who are new to our show, I am the product of an affair. My father was married, and my stepmother actually raised me. And I thought my stepmother was my mother for many years. I actually didn't meet my biological mother until I was 8. And so I think about my dad, and he almost demanded cooperation. like, you know, this is in the 70s, the late 70s, early 80s. My dad was, you know, even though he had made his mistake, he had done that. He demanded cooperation. Like, it's not even about us as adults. We got this baby here and she gonna be taken care of well. And so this is what we're gonna do. And again, my mothers still speak to each other till this day, and I'm 42. They'll speak on birthdays and Mother's Days and Christmases, and they still have that relationship 40 something years later, despite me.
Well, that's because as a man earns his resources, his options open.
Yeah, my dad was
again, the whole Black China situation was funny because what happened? Tyga has resources. He got his kid.
That's facts.
Rob has resources. He got his kid.
Yeah.
If you're not going to cooperate with the type of life I want, I'll get rid of you.
But I'll keep my kid.
I'll keep my kid. You know, even the like trapping him with a baby thing doesn't work when a man gets to a certain point because he'll get rid of you and keep the baby.
And in some ways, I guess that's what happened with my parents. Because I didn't love my mom, but I don't think if my dad had to choose between the wife that had already raised 2 children, well, 3. I have 3 older sisters, 2 biological, and my stepmother had a child before they got together. She'd already done it. And so I came in, and my eldest sister is 14 years. Michelle's 14 years difference. So my dad was like, this is the better option for my kid. So I can get rid of you, thank you very much. Give me my kid.
Like, you want to go have them babies.
Right? Like,
get him here.
Go give me my kid. And so, you know, I think, listen, things imprint on you. And when you sit back and I think about the fact, I've always said, you know, being in a space where I knew that, like, again, my daddy's an amazing daddy. He's a flawed man, but he's an amazing father. And that was certain things that I thought, like, as I grew older, I was like, how did my dad pull that off?
But
because you think about it these days, and I've met
resources.
Other. He did. My dad did have resources.
That stood on what he was saying. He wasn't and again, we know, like, we was watching, if you know Gerard Carmichael, he's just dropped a stand-up special that was just
profound. Watch it. If you haven't watched it.
Never have I seen a comedy show with 3 or 4, 10, 15 second pauses of dead space and not anyone says anything and nobody has a problem with it. Like, the boy turned his pain into jokes and was dropping them. He killed it, man. And part of that, he was talking about he had cheaters on both sides of his family. His mama and his daddy grew up with men that had side kids outside of their marriage and all of that stuff. So, and he was kind of talking about his experience with that. And he was talking, it was funny. He was like, his daddy was smashing one of his friend's aunties, and his friend came over like, I seen your dad at my auntie crib, and and he was like, you know what his response was? He was like, he squinted his eyes up like, I don't know who you're talking about. And hilarious. He meant, I'm not gonna spoil much more of it, but he was like, I don't know what you're talking like. Robert Stevenson, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not me. Barry Sanders.
I think that was what his name was. He had chosen some like ridiculous name.
I'm Barry Sanders, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm Barry Sanders.
But it's interesting because here's the thing. This has been going on. 3 relationships are not new. Your father had to make it work somehow, and he did. And I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for it. But Rob made a point. 3-way relationships are not for men without resources. Let's just call it what it is, right? A broke man should not be considering trying to create cooperation from women when you ain't got no bread. And so I can say that's very much the reason why my dad was able to make that situation work. Because while we were in Jamaica, my dad was very well to do. Right? We had a great house in a great neighborhood. He worked for a shipping company. When my mother tells me stories, she's like, when your father walked through the bar, everybody got happy because my dad would buy a round of drinks for everybody in the bar. He didn't care how many people were there. Like, they knew they would be like, Johnny's here tonight. Everybody's good. Bartenders, everybody got happy. My dad walked around with a briefcase of money. Like, we did very well. And so having resources allowed him to be in a space where, like it or not, my stepmother wasn't going to leave him. She eventually did, as when we got older. But at that time in life, my stepmother really wasn't going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of like He takes care of the home, and my mom, for her own thing, even though she didn't have me physically, my dad still gave her money to make sure she was okay.
Okay.
So broke men can't have three-way, or at least not a cooperative three-way relationship.
Not a cooperative.
They can cheat.
Full of strife. They're gonna be fighting and arguing because again, there's gonna be struggle for what little resources he does have. He's not, It's,
how you going to stretch $1?
Right.
Three ways.
That's what I'm saying. If there's not if it's not being built upon and there's not some type of excess over revenue somewhere, then yeah, it just ain't really gonna hold up. It's gonna be pretty ghetto basically, and
because we're talking about a sophisticated level of a relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not talking about the hot ghetto mess.
Yeah, we're talking about like hands in and
the cooperative, you know what I'm saying? Like where the women are cooperative, whatever way you put it, the man is happy in it. The women have to be cooperating.
Extremely close.
Like they should be able to go to be brunches together. They're going to do all the things together.
We talk about it. All that crap that I don't be wanting to do. I'm like, you need a girlfriend for that. I'm not going to be your girlfriend.
It's not true.
So
I go to brunches alone right now. If I need to go to
I will don't.
No, on my turn up. No, I shouldn't say that. On my turn up brunches where he's like, no, you need to go and just kind of do your thing.
Okay, fellas. Here's the thing. Also, and I explained it to her. She gets it a little bit.
I get it a bit.
I enjoy her company, but because she is in an unfamiliar space, there's times where I want and even need her to get out on her own and just do her and be her and experience, because the energy of the entire event and venue is going to be different for you when you're by yourself.
No, I get it.
Than it is when you're
because when we're together, I'm concerned
about
him.
Me,
like, is he okay? Did he like the food?
And then the dudes, they're looking at you, but they're not going to talk to you because you're with me. But when you're not with me, you can be a social butterfly like you like to be when you're in that space. You know me, I'll go there, eat, sit back and watch and just be laughing at people and like barely interact with nobody. You know what I mean? Like
we're very different that way. Like I am like, hey everybody, I walk into a place and like I made friends in like 10 minutes.
And there's times where I like being with you because you help, you basically you do that for me. And it's not that I can't do it. It's just, man, I definitely need some downtime after that because just people are a lot for me sometimes because I don't really want to get into the depths of it. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
It's not.
It's definitely not for a man who ain't got an ability to put his foot down and really say, look, this is what it is. There's some boundaries to this. Like we've talked in detail, like down to rules, down to what's okay, like what next. So we have a formula that's we feel pretty comfortable with.
So let's talk about our formula a bit, because you guys might be here to find out, like, so for me, one of the biggest things was the woman cannot be taller than me. Like, I have no thank you. So I'm only 5'5", right? And Rob is 6'9". So I cannot have a woman who's like 5'10" or 5'11". It just doesn't. The dynamic is
she feels like it would drown her out.
It drowns me out, and this is not the them show. Right? Like it's not then, because then we're out and it's like, oh my God, you're so tall, and there's me and I just have a big body. So like it's just we're not gonna do that. So I prefer a woman who's a little bit tinier, slimmer than me, because I'm on the thicker side. Not Big Shirley, clearly you guys didn't see me, but I ran track. I'm on the thicker side. A little bit more feminine than I am, because I'm not saying I'm not feminine. I think we're clear about that. But maybe demure is the word. Maybe a little bit more. Is what demure? You
passive.
Have to. Maybe I don't know if she's.
Well, not really passive, but
demure.
I know
I like the word demure.
That's a little bit more.
She brings a little bit of a balance between Rob and I, right? I think it's someone who can be a mediator and it's not that we have explosive things, but we're both when we want a point, we'll drive a point home. Like it needs to be driven, and a person who can be almost like a mediator, like we will know that woman when she comes along. We're not just out there saying, because here is the thing about, if you're going to really actually have a dainty, that's a good word too. That's a good word too, Shelly. So if you're going to have a three-way relationship, the other person has to complement the existing relationship. They can't detract from it. They're supposed to bring to it. And so we identified a few things that would bring things. I know, girl. I know. Listen, I tried to get you in here, and you said no.
We've
accepted the fact that you're not coming to be, but you are our unofficial third girl.
Always unofficially.
She's so Sterling Stage, our sponsor, is our literally unofficial third. But it is what it is. She's strictly addicted. She ain't gonna leave her man. But you know what? Anyways, that's a story for another day. But no, we've identified, because again, if the core relationship isn't going well and you don't understand your dynamic, bringing somebody in, it's like an ecosystem. Remember we were talking about getting the fish tank?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So we want to get a fish tank, and Rob started doing some research about making sure the right fish are in there. You can tell them, baby.
Well, no, I just started looking into it, and then, again, with technology and just information and resources and people's understanding, like, I ain't had a fish tank in
I've had one since I was a kid. My dad had.
So when I started watching some videos, I was very intrigued at the idea that fellas are building these freshwater ecosystems to where you don't have to change the water, where the plants are, so you have like a life, so the plants making oxygen or they're making carbon dioxide, however the process goes, and then the fish is doing the reverse, and you got bacteria in there that's eating up the fish poop and producing stuff for the plants.
So the idea is that it's thriving. It's thriving.
So everything is benefiting. Yeah. Nothing is really getting left beside. And that's exactly how we see a third person, is that we would add that thing that they're missing in their life. You know what I mean? Someone who maybe doesn't want to be in a traditional type of relationship is, again, obviously bisexual, because
she got to eat the cooch. Just call it what it is. That's where we're all adults here. Yeah. I'm not gonna have some woman who just wants my man's dick.
Yeah,
like she got to eat the cooch. Like this is we're not. I'm not hanging out like that.
Not even really wanting that either, Justin. That puts way too much pressure on me, and I'm looking to release some pressure and add it in. That's why I joked, like I was like, I'm not about to have two women nagging at me. Like, no, the complaint department got to go through you.
Like we've even established that.
Talk to me or nothing like that. But again, when she really like, Rob, it's real. Nah, you got to talk to her about that shit. Don't bring that to me, because I got to deal with enough of it from her.
That is fact. So even again, you have to, if you want to have a successful three-way relationship, we're not saying it's for everybody, but I think that there are a lot of men who may be in denial about the fact that, because listen, most men who get caught cheating didn't intend to get caught cheating. They wanted to be able to still have their Toshiba at home and deal with their whomever out abroad. However, they got caught cheating, and now they had to choose. And reality is that their Toshiba is the one who is creating the balanced ecosystem in their life, and so Susie had to go. But if he was true to himself, he would want Toshiba and Susie. Right?
He's not happy about losing Susie.
He's not happy about losing Susie. But Toshiba is happy about it. You know what I'm saying? His Toshiba makes Toshiba feel better, but he's still thinking about Susie.
Yeah. So now, instead of going to watch TV and chill at Susie's, I'm going to the bar to get drunk. And coming home mad at you.
But I don't want you to, but he doesn't want his Toshiba to leave. But you know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't want to lose either of them. So I'm like, again, when we're saying we're changing the conversation around black relationships, this is not new. Again,
y'all been to Atlanta?
This is not new. It's not new. It's been going on since forever, right? Men have had women in different homes. Like, how many people have been to funerals where one family finds out about the other family at the funeral? They're wondering why Miss Betsy is crying so damn loud. It's because Miss Betsy, her 2 kids, are for the man that's dead, who was spending his time and making sure that he paid for Miss Betsy's house. Like, A guy I dated actually had that whole situation. His mother knew very much about the other woman. The other woman's children would come over. The other woman was taken care of by his father because they made it clear that they didn't want her bringing another man into the home to financially support her because it creates an imbalance in that situation. Like, it was a whole thing. They had a whole structure. And he said till the day his daddy died, that is what had happened. It never changed. So this is, again, we're 40-something, 50-something-year-old people. It's not new. So when we try to act like this stuff is new, it's that we have just determined
it's going to be transparent.
That monogamy is the way to go. But monogamy is not for everybody.
Nope. And it shouldn't be required. Like, I'm not saying if that's what you need to be happy, then fine. But like, show me all of these rich big dick dudes that just want one woman. Here's the thing. But how many women would sign up for a relationship with a man if he said, you're not going to be the only one? Do you feel like... Now, y'all programmed to kind of, you feel like it's not authentic if he's not willing to do you with that for you. So you'll accept him lying, because again, we'll say what we gotta say. Like, that's why I said masculine energy is unattractive on a woman, because we know how we are. Mm-hmm. You're acting like me. And so again, men don't like hurting your feelings. We don't. We will lie over hurting your feelings. Is it more beneficial? Probably not. But women love to say, tell me the truth, and then y'all fold up when he actually does.
Tells the truth.
So what happens is he just stops telling you the truth.
Well, he stops telling you anything, really.
Yeah, basically.
But here's the thing. That's the best part. You know what's so interesting? Let me get even further. What's so interesting is he's able to tell the truth to the side piece because she knows she's a side piece.
Exactly.
And that is what F's up a lot of main relationships, because he's over there playing Destiny and telling the side piece, and she's bringing him his salsa and chips and hanging out with him.
In the house,
No.
Yep.
No, let's not even go there. Right. And so all of this stuff is happening, and he's been able to tell Susie side chick, about what's really going on, because Susie side chick has accepted her place in his life as Susie side chick, and so all the things that he should be communicating to his version of Toshiba, he's not. So Susie's sidekick is actually getting the best parts of him. And that's what women are not realizing, is when you
upset and hurt the most about is when they realize that he's more at peace
with Susie's
side piece than he is at home, because of the environment that you created.
But here's the thing, and this is why Rob and I have talked about the fact that cheating is not a deal breaker for us. Choosing is. Him cheating and him choosing is something else. If I go into his phone and I'm scrolling and there are text messages after text messages with some girl, that's indicated to me he's chosen someone. Mm-hmm. She is in a category, she's in a race with me. Like, we are neck and neck, because he's giving the best parts of him, because Rob doesn't necessarily love to text and do all of that. So the fact that he's doing that means that he's giving him. And I think that's what a lot of women don't realize, that you're actually losing when you're the main chick, but you don't allow your man to be the best parts of him in your relationship. And so he's going out, at some point you become the 20 and Susie side chick becomes the 80.
And again, it's all of those things, and it's again kind of women's, and I'm not shading women, other than your reluctance to let men be men, and not saying that, look, if you demand monogamy, fine. But maybe you should adjust your expectations to a man who actually has the possibility to give that to you. I.e., a guy who really feels like, you're my first, my last, my ever, my everything. There's definitely guys like that. They're just not as abundant as there is guys that just want some strange because it's strange.
That's some strange.
And there's no bigger example of that than the glory hole. Have you ever heard of like a woman just laying and spreading her legs like, come in and get it, like whoever wants some, come get some?
No.
You've never heard of that. But men, you will be like, put a random hole in the wall and men will go up to it and stick their junk in it and hope something good happens.
Yeah, this is your European coming out.
Well, I ain't never been to one of
I'm
them,
not saying that
like,
he's
nah,
done it, but
nah.
having lived in Europe,
Yeah, I've seen some crazy
Europe is
stuff,
more
like, you see,
free.
but
Why do
they
you always
are-
feel like you need to defend something? Like I think they get it that you're not doing it, but again, you lived in Europe for 6 years.
No, where again, you'll
so
see people
again, they're
just
free.
in the park getting it in, and nobody is calling the cops and getting mad or nothing like that. It's just it's accepted. Like I said, in a lot of countries overseas, they got full-fledged live porn on like cable television, and this is 15, 20 years ago.
But because
Sex isn't taboo.
That's what I was about to say.
Violence is not looked at the same way. We love seeing people getting dismembered and shot up and killed, but don't show no penis on TV. Oh my God.
And it's the opposite you've said in Europe.
Yeah, they're very much the opposite, man.
It's very liberal.
They're not as buttoned up about sex, man. Like, dads don't have this, like, keep penis away from my daughter mentality, so guess what? Girls are not as promiscuous at earlier ages. Like, you can be in the club drinking at, like, 16 and 17, and they're not getting pregnant, they're not doing the most. Like, it's because it's just treated as a part of life like it is, not something that
not hush hush.
you're held back from until all of a sudden one day open up the gates and you just fathers literally, we used to joke about it in college. It's like you basically shut that girl in for 18 years and then you just sent her off to Michigan State.
And she's free. And she's wild.
And guess how she's behaving up there? You know what I'm saying? Because she ain't never been able to do nothing. You've always been prohibitive and shutting it down, and you know what I mean? Like that's not the approach to none of this.
So here's the thing: you just said something to me, which was leading me to what I was going to say. Just because Rob has the option doesn't mean he's ever taken it. Rob has never come to me and presented the idea of being with another woman, even though he has the option to do so. Why? Because he understands that when it comes to what we're looking for, it's about quality. But he knows he can talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what women need to understand. Just because you say to your man, cool, we can have these conversations. He sometimes just wants the idea. You said it in one show. Just the fact that he can converse with you about it makes a huge difference. It doesn't make it so faux pas. You've now opened the door.
Make him shut a part of himself off with you. And we'll do that, fine, because we don't want to hurt your feelings, and we love you, and we want to keep your relationship going. And men will do a lot of dumb shit because once we get past like the best man is when he just likes you. Once he falls in love with you, you're opening yourself up to a little more fuckery because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings, so he's gonna squirm and slink and try to avoid doing it, and ultimately sometimes the things he's doing to try not to hurt your feelings are going to be the very things that hurt your feelings, so it's going to go anyway. But that's just a part of it. But we don't enjoy doing it. We'd rather be blood raw with y'all, but too many of y'all just fold up and go into a fetal position when a nigga tells you, like, yeah, you know that trip to Vegas, we was going crazy out there. And because, again, a man can have unattached sex like it's no problem. It's not as easy for y'all.
That's facts. Sword and Sage, a series of small and daily disappointments, right? That's a relationship. It builds up, right? And, small and daily heartbreaks and all these things that happen in a relationship. But we're not couple goals, not trying to be couple goals, but I'm telling you, having a fuck your feelings concept around our relationship, and you're going to learn about it in my new book, is what's going to keep us together. I don't think either one of us, especially Rob, could be in a situation where he has to walk around on eggshells because he's protecting my feelings, but he really wants to tell me stuff and really wants to be able to express himself, but I don't know how she was going to act, and so I'm just going to keep it to myself. Like, that's just not, it doesn't work for us. And I know it doesn't work for me because I want to be able to free and tell him things, because in my previous marriage, I remember he knew I was bisexual from the get-go. And when I got to him, you know, we had relationships with other people, and then it was as soon as we got married, he wanted that cut off. Like, I'm telling you, it was like I said I do, and he was like, you shouldn't anymore. And that part of me that I enjoyed being with him, I never told you that, but he never wanted me after that, because he was like, now you're a married woman, and I was like, so I'm not bisexual anymore? Like, I didn't get it, and now you want me to be this entirely new woman, and that didn't work for me, because I'm still who I am. But he never, like, I had to go, I'll tell, like, I went on Craigslist, and I was trying to, I just, because I had no outlet, I was trying to meet people to talk to who got, you know, other military wives and all of those different things. That didn't work for me. So I can only imagine for a man that didn't work. And I think finding each other and getting to that place where we were like, in order for the success of this relationship, we do kind of have a fuck your feelings space where, yes, there are going to be some things that you might feel a certain way about, but the fact of the matter is, I would rather you know it than not. I'd rather be in a space where I'm at home and feel at peace than, again, trying to get Susie sidekick.
Well, yeah, because, again, it's very different of me knowing something makes you uncomfortable, or you don't like something or something that I'm doing hurts your feelings. And unless that's something that's just a part of me, why would I want to keep selecting that? Or vice versa. Like, I think that's, you know, like, one of the things is, you know, when I'm passionate, you know, my voice goes up, and she's the most sensitive person ever. If my voice goes up past a certain decibel level, why? And I'm like, yo, I've never yelled at you, ever. Ever. Trust me, if I yelled at you, you would flipping know it. I've never yelled at you, but I start talking, and sometimes my response to her is, it isn't no pause and think about it and put your words. No, sometimes it's very visceral. It's just the reaction to what she said sometimes, you know, and she's like, you're just so, but it goes both ways. She smacks her teeth, like I said, about damn near everything I do all day long. But I've become accustomed to that's us. It's just a part of us, you know. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just what it is. Because, like, until they just start cloning your DNA in an opposite sex shell or something like that, I don't even know how that works. And who would want to be with themselves?
I don't want to be with a person like me. Which is why, even in our three-way relationship, I said, I don't want a woman like me. We already have a woman like me.
Kind of like a career, but it's not one that's like, not like a lawyer, but like a hostess or something like that.
That we even talked about the career. We have been like, clear
something
about
that she can do if she wants, and she can quit if she wants, and it doesn't really make or break the situation either way, you know. But she's definitely got to be invested in this. Like that's coming off day one. Like, you got to be a fan almost of this and want to be a part of it. And if that's not the energy we get off of it, it's no point of it. And that makes it easier for me too. It's not about quantity with me. Like, I've hit my number already.
Oh God, he probably hit it when he was 22.
Yeah, not that early, but it was a big number too. But that's neither here nor there.
A number I've never asked, just in case the ladies want to know. I've never asked. I don't care.
To be honest with you,
do you think I got with a former pro ball player thinking that you've been with 3 women in your life? Let's be clear. Like, some things are better.
Places, man, they was throwing it, bro.
Some things are better not to know, ladies. And I've never lost a night of sleep ever asking him. I don't care, because he's slinging it this way now. But you continue, babe.
I forgot what I was talking about.
His number.
Oh, yeah, that's why I forgot.
You've already, because you're about quality, not quantity.
But at this stage, just because I feel very confident in the space of Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, audience, whatever. If you're not for her, you're not for me. You can't get to me without her.
But that's the key. That is the key. If I were to give a man a tip from a woman's perspective, you have to consider, what is a woman that would kind of offset your woman. She doesn't want a woman coming in trying to be like her or be her. Like, I couldn't date myself. I say to him all
That's
the
why she
time.
says like
God
not as
bless
much
you.
masculine energy as me. Like
Yeah, I want dainty, all, like, I am very clear
Demure.
about demure and all, like, I'm very clear about the type of woman, because there's a balance between the both of us.
but not no shrew either.
I know we don't want a shrew. Like, she's not button up church North Carolina girl. Like, she's not doing that.
Glasses.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But again, a woman just who exudes a little bit more femininity, who is
And
again
obviously
slimmer.
very-
Can I finish, please?
Oh.
Who's a bit slimmer? Who's all of those things? We've talked about it, because I understand bringing in another version of Toshiba. Oh no, that ain't never gonna work. I would never want to be with me. Like, some days I give him thanks. I'm like, thank you. Like, thank you for dealing with me, because I don't want to deal with me. And so the thing that we're going to bring in another me, it doesn't work. So we've had to balance. What does it look like? We've auditioned people. Everyone's failed thus far.
Miserably too. Like, and it's bad because it's already like we're kind of accommodating even the interview, and yeah.
And that's the thing.
That's why we want to get out of Phoenix. Like, Phoenix is just
Not it.
Not it. Not for what we're doing.
Phoenix ain't it. Like, Miami, Charlotte,
No,
Houston.
Miami's too much.
Oh yeah, Miami.
Dallas and Houston.
Dallas, Houston, Charlotte.
It'd be alright.
No, not the Bible Belt. Because
No,
Charlotte's still Bible
Yeah,
Belt.
still a Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Atlanta,
Houston.
is like, that's Atlanta. The three-way relationship gonna be the norm in Atlanta in like 10
Well,
years.
there's what, 10 women to 1 man in Atlanta at this
Yes.
point. But the only
You
thing
know,
with
every
Atlanta
woman they
is
sharing like crazy,
the
but it's a lot
STD
of
rates
fun.
is very high in
There's a
Atlanta.
lot of different things going on there.
So,
but,
anywho, but we do
yeah.
audition people. Like, there is, because it's understanding your personality. It's this is, again, when you're going to do this has to be planned out. This isn't, oh, I got caught, let me throw this woman. I would not recommend that, guys. If you're trying to have a successful three-way relationship, I would not recommend that.
Because I heard, and again, it's the source, I'm like, I ain't gonna say it's not credible, but I'm like, it's everybody ain't the same, you know. So these guys were like, yo, and I think it's more of like threesome type of energy, threesome type of etiquette. But it was like, don't let your girl pick because she's gonna get you some trash. And I was like, that's funny because I don't have that feeling at all. It's like, it's actually the opposite. She's going to make sure it's.
They've never had a threesome.
That's why. That's kind of what I was getting.
Never
I was
had a
like,
threesome.
yo, so you think so your attraction is more important than her attraction?
They've never had a threesome.
Yeah, like that's why
a woman who's agreeing.
Oh, sorry, that was the first time I used that word in the show too.
A woman who's agreeing to a threesome isn't gonna choose Big Shirley because she's gotta be in the space with her, right? Women are attracted to certain things, right? Like, no, I'm not gonna choose a woman who is not something that I would want to be seen with if I wasn't with you.
But that's the thing. They were trying to make the argument by the man choosing, like, say, if you're a 9, then he's going to choose another 9 or a 10. And I'm like, no, actually, in my experience, niggas, excuse second time, my bad. Dudes will choose whatever is available. And that's how you get some crazy situations going on. Like, again, I've witnessed. It started as a threesome, and now he's with the new girl, and like all this crazy stuff be going on, you know, because people no boundaries being enforced, no rules being set, and it's not really being talked about, and the main relationship ain't being protected. Like, I don't want. You also are opening yourself up to negative energy too, and that's why we are so cognizant of we're not going to bring anyone in that can. It's not worth risking messing us up. So that's why we're cautious the way that we are. Is you're going to have some act right off day one.
The act right. No, but you just said how important energy is, right?
Yes.
You can't because again, if you're going to, we're not talking about threesomes. Because I think a lot of people hear 3 and they want to add some. It's not about, because it's not about the sex. Like, and so when you look at these, there are all these great groups online, Black polygamy and all of those different things. And I think a lot of people see it and they think that it's a competitive situation. No, it's a collaborative situation. It is about the right energy situation, right? We even talked about that. There's a certain energy that the person wants to have. I've identified someone in my life that is very much like, if you come anywhere close to this person, you're for us. Because that person's energy like changes our dynamic.
Yeah.
And so we've identified if that person has this level of energy and they can bring this is what we want. Because again, just like that whole balanced ecosystem where you're talking in the fish tank, you have to create a balanced ecosystem in a three-way relationship. And again, just because you're agreeing to one doesn't mean you'll ever even be in one. Again, Rob has the option, again, Beyonce, he can go out and be like, oh yeah, babe, met this girl, was that blah, 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 blah. He's never come to me on that tip. Even when we're out, he'll be like, yeah, we'll be like, yeah, that girl's cute, but it's not like, hey, let's, because again, we're flirting and he's fine with that.
And a lot of it gets deaded just in the flirting. It's like,
he's like, yeah, her energy was a little stank. Yeah, because usually when we go to the strip clubs, right? Like, yeah, I'm inside because I don't smoke, I don't do anything. So I'm usually just sitting there waiting for him. And he often is going back and forth. So the girls are going outside and they're seeing him. They're like, oh my God, you're so tall. And all these conversations happen. And he'll be coming and tell me all the girls that were up there talking to him. He's like, I'm like, any vibes? He's like, oh no. Like, not even close.
And it's just like, yeah, man. Maybe it's Phoenix. That's what I said. I've been here too long. And maybe that's part of it, but yeah, even the strip club is just like...
And that's not what we're looking for, right? That's not the vibe. And again, there's a difference between you having a threesome, because a threesome, are we going to have all of these particular rules? No. It won't be the same. We do have rules and what it is that we're looking for, but it's not the same of when you're trying to incorporate someone else into your life, because that is really what the three-way relationship is.
It's like James Bond has a license to kill. He doesn't just go around smoking people's boots all the time. He uses it when it's appropriate. He had to earn the trust that he had the ability and the judgment to handle a literal license to kill. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's kind of what Sheba gave me, is a license to kill. Like, I can actually go there and kill something, but I know when it's appropriate and I don't. Like, I'm just like, no, it's, again, it's that if that situation walks in front of me, or I'm like, oh, that's exactly what it is right there, then I kill it. Look what I found. And that works out. But I'm 90% sure that I won't find that third person. She will.
And that's the key, right? Your woman has to be invested. That's what we're going to think. The woman has to buy into this, guys. If this is what you really want, and I think Rob, again, after a series of not getting what he wants, he got to the point where it was like, he was like, no.
Everything else.
So when he met me, it was like, tick, 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 whoa, tick, tick, right? And again, he got it in a way that no other man in my life, because he didn't make my bisexuality about him. It was about me, and he asked me questions, and he really dug into certain things where I was like, no one's ever cared to ask me questions. They hear it, and it's kind of like, yay, right? Or no, the occasional no. But I think that was the key, is the woman has to buy in. And you can't trick a woman into a three-way relationship.
You can't fake it. You can't trick a woman into sex with another woman. Like, she's over there like...
Not the...
Because it's not a good look, man. And she kind of resents you for making her do that, and it's just not a good look, man.
Because it's supposed to add. So that's kind of we don't have our question. Well, I got to get back to the questions.
Yeah, we're going to be, again, the setup.
The setup is changing. You see, we're changing a bit.
And adjusting, and we're figuring it out.
We have this new space, and so we're trying to, we only been here, 2-3 weeks now? God. Yeah, it's not even been, it hasn't been a month yet. 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks now. Yeah. Almost 3 weeks. Anywho, so we've only been through 3 weeks. So we're still trying to configure it. We'll get back to our questions. But no, like, I would say A three-way relationship, if that's what you want, be honest about it. I think we're at a space, especially once you get to an older age, our audience is generally between 35 and 54. And if you get to that point in your life where you're that old, especially when you're in your 40s, if you're going around being in relationships that you don't want for the sake of being in a relationship, that's on you. You need to actually be going out and saying, what is it that I want out of a relationship? Because if I were to commit and I don't have those things, that's going to create, you're not going to get everything on the list. He did get everything on the list with me, I'm sure. I mean, you damn well got close.
I got, yeah, most of it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
no, I was going to say, but wait, I got to tell you that from jump. If you weren't you, I wouldn't be in this. I wouldn't be in, nah. I said I'm going to get what the fuck I want or I'm good. And that's why I said three-way relationships and stuff like that is going to be more frequent because guys that, remember, if I grind and scrape and fight to get myself up here, I want what the guys up here have access to. They're not going to convince me that I should be a good boy and take
what's down there,
what you're offering me down here. Like that Velveeta is all that.
So listen, we are not advocating that this is for everybody, but we are saying if it's something that you've played with, if you've toyed with, I think you just need to be honest and have that conversation.
And as much as, and let me be real, as much as look, you're bisexual, your bisexuality drives the ambition for the third. But fellas, if that's what you want, you got to determine that, and you got to make sure that part falls in place before you even get down the yellow brick road. You know what I mean?
Well, you make a good point because the funny part, because this is the last thing.
Still on you, bro. Like if you think you're man enough for two women, you got to find you a woman that's gonna help you accommodate that.
I agree. So the last point I'm going to make, which was funny because again, in our relationship, I was the one who drove that discussion. I was very open with Rob in the very beginning. I said, listen, as much as I've always known I will settle with a man, I've clearly been married to one and I will remarry another man. I cannot be in a relationship where I'm not introducing another woman. And so my ideal relationship would be with a man who's my leader, my king, my all of that, and another woman. Is that something you're down for? Because if you're not, tell me now because I'm not going to waste my time. And he was like, my bad.
I can deal with that. And again, it fits into what I kind of prescribed for myself, as a younger man before I had made, fellas, it's on you. Whatever you feel like it's going to take to make you happy, you need to find a woman that's going to be on board with that and help you accomplish that. That's pretty much how it goes down. But
I think I don't give the same advice to women. I was fine with walking away if he said not down for that. As great as Rob is, I was perfectly fine with walking away because I was at a point in my life that that's what I knew I needed to be successful in a relationship. I wanted the option. The option. Let me be clear. It is the option. I am not saying that you guys are going to see season 3 and there's going to be some extra addition sitting here beside us. There is no guarantee we're actually going to find that person that we've imagined in our mind because our bar is set very high. But I wanted the option. And I think that's the key. You wanted the option. It's about having the option. And we both have you have the option a little bit more because Rob's rules are very much, you better not ever go up there and do what you do to another man that you do to me. It does not go. Their three-way does not go. It ain't a thing over here. But you're very clear. But again, the key is the option. If you are a person who knows that option is important for you, just the option. You need to be saying it. I just think we are too old at this stage in your life, especially when you're going into second marriages or whatever the situation may be. You're too old to keep settling and say, okay, well, I can't really, so I'm just, no. It's a disaster. I think it's a disaster, and I wasn't signing up for a disaster. So thank you for accepting everything that came with me, because it's
and vice versa, because I'm not a Sunday picnic all the time. You know what I mean? I know I'm very matter of fact with you, and I know sometimes that leaves you feeling like I don't care if you you storm off and huff off, but that's not true. It's the opposite. Once you get to a certain stage and you mature and you get older, it's like, fellas, you can't be afraid to take an L. Like, because that starts screwing up your behavior. You feel what I'm saying? Like, now I'm afraid to lose her, and my fear of losing her prevents me from being honest with her, or prevents me from telling her the truth, or prevents me from being my authentic self with her. You know what I'm saying? Oh, y'all being sweet. Thank you. And you know what I mean? But that's where we as men, we disserve ourselves sometimes, is that we don't want to lose her, but sometimes you gotta, that's her choice if she wants to leave.
But aren't you losing yourself in the relationship?
Right, and I think we've all as men know what that feels like, to pursue, try to make her happy to the point where you ain't happy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you start losing yourself in a relationship, really trying to make the other person so happy, and again, this is why people find it, again, strange that we say happiness is, does it even make top 5? No, I know it doesn't for me. I love you and I want him to be happy, and I think I do things that make you happy, but thinking that I'm going to make him happy every day and vice versa, I'd say happiness might be, if anything, it's 5 or 6 on my list. Well, like it's not the top.
Happiness is like when you lose your car keys. Once you stop looking for them, they just appear. Like, we spend a lot of time being happy because we don't worry about it.
We don't worry about it.
We don't.
And I think that's the key. And again, I'm not worried about trying to make him happy, and we're just existing in our
so
space.
Much to the extent that, like you said, if my mood is not at least medium, she's like, what's wrong? What did I do almost? And almost vice versa, where we kind of gotten past that. Now it's just like, yo, sometimes the day just sucks.
Yeah, you came in today and I knew the day sucked, and I just let you do you, and I did what I needed to do.
Sometimes it might feel like that's coming out on you. For sure, my dude. Appreciate you jumping on there, Dre. And I'm gonna hit you up this week too, man. I want to try to get you on here once.
So let's actually, as we're wrapping up, so tell people, what are you going to plan to talk about on Man to Man?
Show Mondays. What are we talking about this week?
I don't know. It's your show.
Last week was respect. I think we're trying to give. I don't know. I'll let y'all know by like Saturday or so. Man to Man Mondays though is definitely a thing. Been getting a lot of positive feedback. And I'm going to make some tweaks to the formula to kind of really make it a man thing and inclusive, so Sheba don't have to help me carry the show because I'm just over there twiddling my thumbs and ain't really been planning. So I'm going to be more prepared. I'm going to have an agenda, a schedule, talking points, kind of all of that. But right now, we just kind of willy-nilly with it. I think more of it's kind of the conversation is just along of like, what type of man do you want to be? Because I think that's right now, like with the Russell Wilson like corny shit, that just kind of is what social media is kind of giving me that and kind of push me on with that. It's like, yo man, it's a lot of different ways to be hard, bro. And I think that we just live in a very critical society, like for real, where people can say stuff about you that they wouldn't say to you, and that's weird.
That's fact. So, Man to Man, every Monday, 9:30 Eastern with Rob. If you're not already following the Instagram, it's Man to Man, the show. But he does go live right here on Fuck Your Feelings, the show. We'll eventually migrate over to Man to Man. We'll probably simulcast next week to both pages.
Yeah,
but
all of this going on, we got some investing to do and some equipment to upgrade to kind of get it where we want. And so we appreciate y'all rocking with us and working with us and allowing us a chance to kind of grow this thing out and make it something what we think it can be. Is just kind of it's a big part of our life right now, and we hopefully will be a big part of y'all's eventually.
Before we sign off, I cannot go without saying thank you to our sponsor, Sorlin Sage. Sorlin Sage CA is the Instagram. ShopSorlinSage.com is the website. They are a huge supporter of what we do, and again, a great black business. The owner makes everything on herself, test her skin, and she's allergic to everything and the sun, as I like to tell her. So make sure you're supporting a Black business. If you would like to sponsor our show, either this show or the Man to Man show, please reach out to fyftheshow@gmail.com. We got a lot of exciting things happening. If you want to be on either show, please let us know.
Scheduling and things like that. We're gonna be
We
trying
got
to step
this.
it up in season 2. You know,
Go team girl.
We getting there. We getting there. And
Team.
yeah, like when I make this next announcement and.
In a little bit.
Yeah, like I don't know, like y'all just pray for your boy, man. And
We got some things in the works, so
get this bag crazy.
we getting it together.
All right.
So thank you, everybody. Have a fuck your feelings week, and Rob will see you on Monday.
No, but we'll see you Saturday too.
Yeah, we'll also see you Saturday on our other show, Not Your Typical Girl Talk. If you're not following that, please also follow our third show, Not Your Typical Girl Talk, Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Not Your Typical Girl Talk on Instagram. We very busy over here. We're also going to be in a documentary. I'm not sure if the producers on 416 Love, we are scheduled to be in a documentary. We'll be shooting soon, so please support that. And we were recently on Love Can't Wait podcast on Instagram. Lopez was on earlier, so please check out our interview on Love Can't Wait. That's the YouTube page. She's got like 23,000 subscribers, so we were feeling pretty nice. So again, Love Can't Wait. We did an interview there. Follow us on Man to Man the show. We will be doing a documentary with 416 Love. And again, if you would like to sponsor us or just join us on the show, please let us know. Peace and blessings and love to all of you. And again, shop SorrellandSage.com. What you gotta say?
Yes, thank you for the support, man. Keep doing what y'all doing. Keep pressing Black people. Keep surviving out here, and we're gonna be doing the same. Like, and why take it up one level when you can take it up 2 notches? Like, just if you let's do this in 2022 and beyond.
Okay, baby. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
For
Bye.
Sure.
Yeah, I need you to turn off one. Dude, where you going? Bye, everybody. I can't get it together.